We have the identity of the country's 105th murder victim. Bamboo Town MP Bran McCartney answers claims of impropriety. And the Ministry of Education introduces a new program that will provide training and support to parents. It's all coming up on the Bahamas Tonight, Wednesday, October 19th. And it's all starting right now.
Covering the islands of the Bahamas, ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight.
Great to have you along this evening. I'm Shanique Miller. This is the Bahamas Tonight National Report. The numbers are out and they confirm what everyone knows. Crime has increased substantially and in many areas doubled. Overall, the figures show that crime increased by 10% when compared to the same period last year. And no surprise, murder is up nearly 50%. During his contribution to the crime bills in Parliament today, National Security Minister Tommy Turnquest released the figures for the period January through October 11th this year. Ianthea Smith picks up the story.
From January 2010 to October 11th, 2010, there were 72 murders recorded. Fast forward to October 11th, 2011, and that number stood at a whopping 104, representing a 44% increase. Sadly, though, since October 11th, one more murder was recorded, pushing the revised count for the year so far to 105. The startling crime figures also show that attempted murder is up 29%, rape is up 38%, and attempted rapes up 18%. The figures also reveal that armed robbery, and attempted robbery are also up by 10, 16, and 8% respectively for the January to October 11th, 2011 period.
Of the 105 murders committed so far this year, 72% of them have been perpetrated by the use of a firearm and 15% by a knife. 66% of the 105 murders in the Bahamas in 2011 are directly related to criminal enterprises with the motives of drugs, conflict, and retaliation.
9% of the murders, he added, was as a result of domestic disputes. According to the figures, manslaughter is down 50% and unlawful sexual intercourse is also down by 30%.
But what we are concerned about is those random murders. Someone's already robbed them, and then just for the sheer hell of it, they kill the victim. But I am pleased, Mr. Speaker, that our police force has had a 52% success rate in solving these murders with persons charged. Now it's up to us to get them before the courts.
When it comes to crimes against the property, the numbers show that stealing from a vehicle increased by 58%, and the cases of stolen vehicles jumped by 7%. Housebreaking is up 9%. The figures say burglary is down 12%, shop breaking decreased by 23%, and stealing cases reduced by 1%.
When we address the unacceptable level of crime in our country today, there are 68 persons who are charged with the serious crime of murder, rape, or armed robbery in 2010 or 2011 who are out on bail today, and only 13 of them are on the electronic monitoring system.
Minister Turnquest says he's pleased that this collection of bills will address the bail issue. Ianthea Smith, ZNS News.
Last night, Works Minister and Lucaya MP Nico Grant said the Pawnbrokers and Second-Hand Dealers Bill aimed at regulating the scrap metal and cash for gold businesses is timely. He gave an example of just how far-reaching the impact is as these entities have increased in the country. Grant said it has affected his ministry as street signs and public fencing have been stolen, costing the government thousands of dollars. Furthermore, Grant says this is creating a challenge for the parliamentary registration process.
I was shocked and saddened when driving through our Bahamian estate over the weekend to find out that all of the stop signs have gone. All of the street signs have gone. This is the work of the metal thieves. Here in New Providence, the Ministry of Public Works and Transport is experiencing the same The theft of street signs and stop signs here on New Providence is at an unacceptable level.
Grant says criminals should be aware that enough is enough, and the bill leaves no doubt that if you do the crime, you will pay the fine, time, or both. Leader of Opposition Business and Member of Parliament for West End and Bimini, Obi Wilshcombe, says that even with the current surge in crime, the Bahamas is salvageable. Wilshcombe added that leaders must do all they can to be proactive.
We must tackle crime through prevention, enforcement, and efficient justice system. We must do more to make sure that our children receive a marketable education, that our people feel safe to patronize businesses at any time. That our people feel safe to patronize businesses any time is important to all of us, Mr. Speaker. We must make sure that visitors feel free to come to our shores without being apprehensive about the crime that they hear of and they read about.
Now, this morning, opposition leader in the House, Perry Christie, had his say on the government's package of 10 bills. But while applauding the government for wanting to introduce a volunteerism program, he bashed them for canceling many of the other programs his administration left in place, like swift justice and urban renewal. Ianthea Smith was at this morning's session.
When it comes to crime, the government is stuck in a crisis and now trying to become unstuck. So says Progressive Liberal Party leader Perry Christie during his contribution to the crime bills debate in the House of Assembly. Mr. Christie says the proposed amendments make it more than evident that the government is banking on the successes of the Royal Bahamas Police Force to cover its, quote, inefficient plan.
The government has to find a way to inform itself on what's happening in these communities. You don't know, and you cannot rely on the militaristic presence of the police officers who are there. You have to have a different approach. You do not know.
And for Christie, this is where the major loophole lies. He says from what he can see, the government is neglecting to deal with crime at its most basic, most critical level, and that's on the streets. He says the government is obligated to understand what exists in each community, but sadly, he says, the F&M government does not.
You could buy all the equipment, give the police all the technology, unless you have a program that is directly relating to children in their environment, to people in their environment, so that you understand the conditions that they face. And that program informs public policy to do something about it. In other words, an intervention to help. You are wasting your time.
He added that during their time in government from 2002 to 2007, the PLP knew it was, quote, riding a tiger when it comes to crime and sought to implement initiatives like swift justice and urban renewal.
And I don't understand why they want to talk down urban renewal in the form we had it. I don't understand it. I do not understand it. But call it whatever you want to call it. But what I'm saying is what you need people who can obey a single command, who are in the community in an office, who are not there feeding people.
Ianthea Smith, ZNS News.
Still on Parliament news, yesterday Prime Minister Ingram urged all House members to disclose their assets to the Public Disclosure Commission for 2009-2010. This after it was reported that a number of House members have not disclosed their assets. This is a criminal offense liable to a $10,000 fine or a 2-year prison term or both. But it was Democratic National Leader Granville McCartney who, during his contribution on the crime debate, shed light on the controversial issue that got some House members crying foul, to which the Prime Minister added this.
Mr. Speaker, I think you are well aware that for ministers of government, failure to publicly disclose their and their immediate family's assets, interests, and income is an offense punishable by a $10,000 fine, up to 2 years in jail, or both. And additionally, the member can have his property forfeited to the Crown.
Now, Prime Minister Ingram, of course, made a response to that and had this to say.
I would have no difficulty whatsoever in tabling for public information.
Please do.
All of the persons who have been reported to me by the Public Disclosure Commission over the years not having disclosed. I would trust that Bamboo Town name would not be on the list.
What the honourable member said is we have not disclosed publicly. Yes, what you said. Members here have not disclosed publicly what their assets are. That is what you said. If that's not what you said, withdraw it. Because under the Public Disclosure Act, we don't have to disclose publicly. We send in our declaration to the Public Disclosure Committee, and then they disclose it publicly.
Persons in this House have been tardy in doing their public disclosure for many, many years. But people have also been tardy in hiring illegal persons without getting permits and doing other things. We can deal with it on the public platform.
Well, shifting gears, yet again, another escape at Central Police Station in downtown Nassau to tell you about this evening. ZNS News understands a man was in custody for stealing. It's alleged that he escaped just before noon yesterday out of a bathroom window at Central. Now, we understand the man was arrested a short time later by officers of the Tourism Division. And get this, the officers reportedly caught him stealing from a parked car. Prisoner escapes are nothing new to Central Station. In the past, several people in custody at the station have in some cases walked out of the station. Whomever is responsible for that missing master key that caused maximum security prisons to be placed on lockdown will have a lot to answer to. Tonight we can tell you that the lockdown at maximum security has been lifted. This according to a news release issued this afternoon. To quote the release, it says, "The public is hereby advised that the lockdown status imposed upon one of the housing facilities at Her Majesty's Prison earlier this week due to a missing key has been lifted." Tonight, Her Majesty's Prison says since the incident, alternative measures are being put in place to render the missing key useless so as to ensure the facility's security and safety measures remain at optimum levels. Officials say at no time was public safety threatened, and it's anticipated that following a formal investigation by the prison's Internal Affairs Unit, certain officers may be required to answer charges before the institution's disciplinary tribunal. We now know the identity of the country's 105th murder victim. He is 48-year-old Robbie David Roll. The Ideal Estates resident was reportedly gunned down around 3 o'clock Tuesday morning inside his residence when 3 men allegedly forced their way into his home, firing gunshots. His female companion also sustained multiple gunshot wounds during the incident, and at last report, she was detained in critical condition in hospital. An active investigation is continuing.